For Nigeria's next general elections, the campaign season continues to heat up. Top candidates, of course, from the main political parties still selling themselves to their supporters with the hope of winning more of these anxious votes. But the build-up, of course, is always filled up with many talking points.
Now, these talking points vary between the rift in the main opposition party, the PDP, and the governor of one of Nigeria's southern states, Nyesom Wike, the seemingly uninspiring personality of the ruling party's candidate, and also the possibilities of Labour Party pulling off maybe the most hard-fought election victory in Nigeria's history. This morning, we have joining us public affairs analyst and former SA to the River State Governor, Opunabo Inko Tariah. Good morning, Mr. Inko Tariah. Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning, Nigeria. Let me quickly comment on what happened in Senegal. That was Senegal, isn't it?
Yes, the Senegalese parliament.
It's quite ungentlemanly for that man to have slapped the lady for whatever reason. Really ungentlemanly. Yes, it's synonymous with parliamentary proceedings all over the world, we agree. But self-censorship is quite important. If he had done that to a man, I would have had an issue. He walked up to her and slapped her. Probably they had some misunderstanding preceding the parliamentary city. I think so. Otherwise, there is no justification whatsoever for that. It's really done that. Then on the issue of going to Coupe, I think those who have suspended him are moved in the party. You're maximizing the minimum and minimizing the maximum. Why do you have to suspend the Coupe at this critical point in time? It's very unnecessary. The focus should be on winning the forthcoming general elections and not suspending it for flimsy reasons of not paying his dues. As bad as it is. But I don't think.
Well, we'll see how this turns out eventually. But let's take the conversation now to River State. Mr. Inko Tariah, let's move the conversation to River State proper. The governor of the state, initially when this started, there were, expectations that it will be settled and, there will be some peace brought to the party. Somehow, some way they will figure it out. But it doesn't seem that is going to happen. And he doesn't seem to, it doesn't seem likely he'll have a change of heart. So I want to ask, do you think that there's any possibility between now and February that there would be mended fences between Wike, Atiku, Nyocha Ayu, and, of course, the PDP itself?
It will be a fleeting illusion to ever think so, that there's going to be a rapprochement, because some Wike's excuses, the ones he's been advancing, are not genuine. They are mere subterfuges. I don't think Wike really wants a reconciliation. The fact is, Wike is angry that, first and foremost, he was picked at the convention. Preceding the convention, he had gone there, posted all over, even in church, one of the church services in Port Harcourt. He had said, when the pastor, the bishop, said to him that we pray that you become the next president of the country, we pray that you are an aspirant, and we pray that you will meet as a candidate. Wike retorted immediately by saying, don't refer to me as an aspirant. I am the candidate, and I am going to be the next president of this country. So having picked at the convention, his ego was bruised. This is a matter of ego. Wike is known to be hubristic in nature, and he's so angry. Now, the soft landing would have been the vice presidential ticket. But unfortunately for him, after spending so much money to be the vice presidential candidate, Atiku said the Delta State governorship candidate for so many obvious reasons. And so that got him really infuriated. And the issue of Nyocha Ayu to resign or not to resign is only being used as a stalking horse. It's not that he really wants Nyocha Ayu to resign. Wike himself is a lawyer. He knows that there are procedural obligations if you have to get somebody like Nyocha Ayu to resign. And number two, even if Nyocha Ayu resigns today, the man that will take his position, that will succeed him, is definitely going to be somebody from that zone. So, in other words, what you're telling us right now is that they have to amend the constitution just for 5 persons. In fact, principally for Wike. These other ones are his followers. I mean, he refers to the Abia State governor as his chief of staff. You can imagine that. So These other ones are like PAs, chief of staffs, and SAs, and what have you. So they are just followers. No, I don't think they really had a grudge at Atiku Abubakar. So now, if you say then the constitution must be amended, when are you going to amend the constitution? Is it right? Is it right now for you to discuss, to talk about constitutional amendment? And in that very instance, you know how party constitutions have been amended. You have the convention, you have this, and so on. So it is practically, rationally inexplicable. Wike is not talking of equity, fairness, and justice. He's not. He's just been angry that he has been demystified. He has been reduced to a level that he feels he's not supposed to get to. And so he's now afraid of his political nadir. He believes that after becoming 29, 2023, that he will no longer be politically useful. Now, let us also look at the issue of Tony. Odili was the governor of Rivers State, an Uplander. Yochime Amechi was the governor of Rivers State, an Ikwere man, not just an Uplander. Yes, an Ikwere man. He succeeded. We all supported him in 2014 to succeed Rotimi Amechi. In fact, that was the beginning of his problem with Rotimi Amechi, because Amechi had said that the next governor of the state should come from the riverine area. That was the genesis of their problem. And he said, no, we all supported Wike. Now, come to 2023, the present governorship candidate of the PDP was chosen by Wike and foisted on the party. But those who are loyal to the party grudgingly accepted it, because the focus will be the winning of the election come 2023. And this same governorship candidate, Sim Fubara, is from the same senatorial zone with the party chairman. So you cannot appropriate and reappropriate. How can you in one breath say, oh, Iyorchia is from the same zone with the presidential candidate, therefore Iyorchia must go. But you are doing the same thing in Rivers. That's exactly what you're doing in Rivers. So it's not all about the issue of equity, fairness, and justice. It's not all about that. It's all about personal interest. And that is why Wike is. And I tell you, when you say reconciliation, like I said, it's a fleeting illusion. It is not, it's like batting on a sticky wicket. It's not going to be possible. Because even if today you say, yes, on Wike, should leave. If today you say you should leave, yes, on Wike will come up with another excuse.
Okay, now so we've been talking about.
Just being used as a decoy.
Yes. You talked about.
And don't forget, he also said after the emergence of Atiku, after the emergence of Okowa, the same governor, Yeson Wike, when he came to Port Harcourt, said, before, that he was going to support
whoever emerges,
Atiku, no matter what, because he's a loyal party candidate, that no matter what, he's going to support Atiku. Live broadcast. Now, this was what he said. And at that point, he never came out, there was no caveat to say, I am going to support Atiku if Iyorchia resigns. And if you say Iyorchia should resign, why? Because Iyorchia emerged before the emergence of Atiku Abubakar. You all knew that Iyorchia was the chairman of the party. Why did you then go ahead to vote for Atiku Abubakar? After that time, when he said he was going to support the party, he felt he was going to be chosen as his vice presidential candidate. Now, when that did not happen, he got angry. And that is why he's launching these tirades and stimulating intifada and so on within the party.
All right.
All right. You've been talking about governors, and you did mention some of the governors in Rivers State. Let's talk about Rivers State politics for a bit. Right now, we have Nyesom Wike, of course, the current governor of Rivers State, but we also have Tonya Cole, who is running for that seat. We had him on the show to talk about the disqualification by the Supreme Court based on the issue of dual citizenship. And this was, of course, brought up by the People's Democratic Party. Now the court has dismissed the suit for lack of merit. Would you maybe share with us the strength of Tonya Cole's chances in the Rivers State forthcoming elections?
Oh my God. I wish I would never asked this question. Nevertheless, I just think the APC is just one joker, if I have to be very honest with you. The APC is not really prepared for the elections. You see, when the political hostings begin, you find all kinds of, it's electrifying. You find the names of the candidates, the very serious candidates, on the lips of my Rivers people. That is how you know it's serious candidate or not. I'm a Rivers man. As I speak right now, I'm a Rivers man. I can tell you that we are yet to feel the impact of Tonya Cole as a candidate in Rivers. Yet to feel that impact. There is no force at all. If you come to Rivers, in fact, not just Tonya Cole, the political parties, the opposition political parties in the state are docile. give this to Wiki, even when, as at that time, we were in the opposition. Not even the state governor could stop us. Not even the state, we refused to be joined by the APCs at that time, led by the state governor, a sitting governor. We gave him tough time. And if you came to River State at that time, you realize that the whole place was charged up. That is not what we have right now. And most of them hide under the guise of Executive Order 22 and 23. These are draconian and tyrannical executive orders that are ultra-virus, the electoral act and the constitution. And that's why I said, INEC, you should not wait for people to come and complain. I listen to the NSC, but it's not just talking. It's not just mountain, fires and everything. That won't take us to anywhere. You know, what we need is concrete performance and not just the high blood pressure of the certain brothers and an enemy of concrete performance. That's what we're talking about right now. So what INEC should do is show motto, move into the arena and take charge, because it is only INEC that has the virus going by the Electoral Act and the Constitution to decide on how elections can be conducted in this state, in the country. And if you talk of advertisements and so on, you have ACON, legally established. And it is only ACON that can also tell us how you're going to advertise, how you can carry out your adverts and so on, your campaigns and so on, and not the state government, because all these laws are already being taken care of. What the River State governor is doing is to politically appreciate the political parties. That's exactly what he's doing. I mean, what we have in the state, I can tell you, is a march of terror, conquest, and subjugation. What he's trying to do is intimidate the political parties. And unfortunately, these political parties, rather than resist this intimidation, have resigned themselves to the intimidation. And I don't know the guys of, you have this executive order, you have that executive order. I think it is just right now that the accord also have gone to court to challenge. What were you doing? What were you doing all this while? You know that you don't have time. You are constrained by time. When will this go? And definitely you're going to lose at the High Court. Because we all know what happened to that. Just very few judges, exemplary in the High Court. You're just going to lose. You might get sagacity might prevail at the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. So if you ask me, I think the political parties in the state they are satisfied with the candidate of the political party. You cannot see that the political parties challenging the state government. A lot of them are scared. A lot of them are intimidated in Rivers. That is what is going on in River State right now. But those exempt orders 21 and 22 are tyrannical and ultra the Constitution and Electoral Act. You could see a tyrant trying to suppress, trying to oppress the opposition. Because I look at in 2014, 2015, these conditions were not there. You said the political parties must pay 5 billion naira to use any of the facilities. How? Let us take, for example, Founder, hypothetically. You want to use the facility on Harley Street, you pay 5 million naira. You want to use the facility on Havana Street, you pay 5 million. What sort of political party would be able to afford that? First and foremost, it's called the custom fee. The custom fee is stratospheric. And we all know that custom fees are refundable. But in this particular case, you said non-refundable. And you must apply 2 weeks to the time. Now, when you apply 2 weeks to the time, these facilities are controlled by government officials. If you talk of the schools, you're talking of principals, headmistresses, and headmasters. And when you apply 2 weeks to the time, on the eve of the campaign, they will now tell you no, that the place has been booked by some other person. Or they will tell the school to say they want to use that facility. It is not responsible. So you cannot even campaign anymore. Meanwhile, you've lost that money.
Yeah, Mr. Inko Tariah, these are, sometimes I would dare say these are common gimmicks that are played, most election periods in Nigeria to frustrate the opposition. But I want us to still speak slightly on the 2023 elections and the PDP's chances of taking River State. It has been a PDP state for a long time, right from, the days of Peter Odile and the likes. Does the PDP at this time stand any chance of still winning River State? Remember that there's the Labour Party that had a pretty interesting rally when they visited River State. So what are the PDP's chances at this time?
The Labour Party, the Labour Party is on a political jamboree. Let it wait for 2020. That's what it's about. I'm talking about the Labour Party. Now, the issue of the PDP taking over the state, it is most likely unless the activities of the governor will rub off negatively on the candidate. Now, if you also talk of the PDP, if you talk of Atiku and Okowa, I can assure you that Rivers people will give their votes to Atiku and Okowa. No matter what the governor tries to do, they will give their votes to Atiku and Okowa, because the followership here for Atiku and Okowa is quite large and huge. None who will not be there. And also, this is his last term in office. This is his last term. And a lot of Nigerians are now politically aware and mature. This imbecile followership will not continue. Thank God we have the beavers. And that's why it's coming up with all these draconian executive orders. Because we have the beavers. It's going to be one man, one vote. So I can tell you, if you say PDP, yes, most likely the governorship candidate of the party is going to win. And even the presidential candidate of the party will get beyond the 25% that is legally required. Atiku Okowa will win in Rivers State. That I can answer. Even if the governor likes, let him support P2B, let him support Kwakwanso, let him support anybody. He has followership. You can't take that away from him.
All right.
But I can tell you, most Nigerians, most Rivers people are not deceived by the rhetoric of the governor. And Atiku Okowa will get enough votes from Rivers State.
Opunabo Inko Tariah, thank you very much for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.